with all of these investigations, questions of what is, how does this administration try to revamp its image? 2.5 months in, you've got this Yates story today. You've got other things going on. You've got Russia. You've got wiretap, and you've got.
No, we don't have that. I know.
On Capitol Hill.
No, I get it, but you keep. I've said it from the day that I got here until whatever that there is no connection. You've got Russia. If the president puts Russian salad dressing on his salad tonight, somehow that's a Russian connection. But every single person. No, that's I appreciate your agenda here, but the reality is, no, hold on. No, at some point report the facts. The facts are that every single person who has been briefed on this subject has come away with the same conclusion. Republican, Democrat, so I'm sorry that disgusts you. You're shaking your head. I appreciate it, but understand this, that at some point the facts are what they are. And every single person who has been briefed on this situation with respect to the situation with Russia, Republican, Democrat, Obama appointee, career, have all come to the same conclusion. At some point, April, you're going to have to take no for an answer with respect to whether or not there was collusion.
How do you change the perception of
we're going to keep doing everything we're doing to make sure that what the president told the American people he was going to do to fulfill those pledges and promises that he made, to bring back jobs, to grow the economy, to keep our nation safe. That's what he's been focused on since day one. We're going to keep focusing on that every single day.
Comes Friday. Condi Rice did not support this president. She did not go to the convention. She comes. What is on the agenda, and how is their relationship? Has it healed since 2006 when he used a very negative word to describe?
Here's what I'll tell you. It's interesting that you ask those two questions back to back. On the one hand, you're saying, what are we doing to improve our image? And then here he is once again meeting somebody that hasn't been a big supporter of his. Hold on. But April, hold on. It seems like you're hell-bent on trying to make sure that whatever image you want to tell about this White House stays, because at the end of the day, let me answer. Okay, but you know what? You're asking me a question, and I'm going to answer it, which is the president. I'm sorry. Please stop shaking your head again. But at some point, the reality is that this president continues to reach out to individuals who've supported him, who didn't support him, Republicans, Democrats, to try to bring the country together and move forward on an agenda that's going to help every American. That's it, plain and simple. So if you're asking what we're doing, I think we continue to do it, which is to bring groups together that have been supportive of him, that haven't been supportive of him, but to share a goal, which is finding common ground on areas of national security, of personal security, of economic security, of job creation, of safer communities, of education, of health care, that can unite us as a country and make the country stronger.
Was it about Russia and Tillerson Friday?
I think I'm not ready to when we're done with that, we'll see if we can have a readout. I understand that. We're not at Friday yet. I will have a readout when that's done. Cecilia.
Thank you. A couple things on the Yates thing. So how and when exactly did the White House encourage her to testify?
Well, the letter that her attorney sent literally says that if we do not receive a response by March 27th at 10 a.m., I will conclude that the White House does not assert executive privilege over the matters with respect to hearings or otherwise. I don't think you can be any clearer than that.
And so you're saying now executive privilege does not...
No, I'm not saying anything. I'm literally, that's what she wrote. The action was, if you don't act, then we will assume the following. Great. I don't think that you can read that any other way. It was I'm sure, a very talented, he is a very talented lawyer and wrote it specifically for it. We read it that way and chose to not act because we have no problem with her testifying, plain and simple.
So executive privilege is not an issue for Sally Yates, would have not have been an issue for Sally Yates testifying.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And following up, one issue. You want to add?
No, it's interesting. I mean, this is very clearly worded, and yet somehow you're asking me how to interpret that in any other way than literally reading plain English.
Okay. Interpret something else for me. Does the president still believe that climate change is a hoax?
I think you'll hear more today about the climate and what he believes. I think he understands. He does not believe that, as I mentioned at the outset, there's a binary choice between job creation, economic growth, and caring about the environment, and that's what we should be focusing on. I think at the end of the day, where we should be focusing on is making sure that all Americans have clean water, clean air, and that we do what we can to preserve and protect our environment. Francesca.
Thank you, Sean. Yesterday, you weren't able to tell us very much about Congressman Nunes' visit to the White House or to the White House grounds to view classified information last week. A Democrat on the committee today said that the White House would have known that he was here. The same Democrat also said that it looked like a criminal cover-up to him. My question to you is, have you learned any more information since we had this conversation yesterday about how he would have even gotten in and how he would have gotten cleared? And do you think that Congressman Nunes should recuse himself from being in charge of the Russia investigation at this point?
Well, number one, on the latter part of that, it's not up to me. He's a member of the House. He's appointed by the Speaker. That is entirely up to the Speaker and the membership of the House of Representatives. We're not going to start commenting on that kind of stuff. I do think that he is running an investigation, which we asked for. And I think the thing that's important to note is there's somewhat of a double standard when it comes to classified information. When leaks are made illegally to the press, and you all report them, the coverage focuses almost entirely on the substance of the allegation and that are part of an illegal leak, not on the illegal nature of the disclosure, the identity of the leaks, or their agenda. But when the information that is occurring now, which is 2 individuals who are properly cleared, or 3, or whoever he met with, I don't know, that they are sharing stuff that is entirely legal with the appropriate clearances, and then there's an obsession on the process. And it's sort of it's a backwards way that when you all report on stuff with sources that are illegally leaking classified information, that's appropriate and fine. No one questions that, the substance of the material. When 2 individuals, or however many, are engaged in this process, have a discussion that is 100% legal and appropriate and cleared, suddenly the obsession becomes about the process and not the substance. And I think that it is somewhat reckless in how the conversation over classified information is discussed while sort of attempting to press a false narrative that exists. So while it is completely appropriate to share classified information with individuals who are cleared, it is clearly not the case to do that when it is illegally leaked out. And I think that's sort of the irony of how this whole conversation has gone.
There are reports that even though the hearing that was set for the 27th was not scheduled, it was canceled by Devin Nunes to prevent this White House from publicly invoking a claim of executive privilege. Could you speak to that?
I hope she testifies. I look forward to it. It was never, let's be honest, the hearing was actually never notified. If they choose to move forward, great. We have no problem with her testifying, plain and simple. The report in the Washington Post is 100% false. The letters that they frankly publish on their website all back up everything I just read. All of the letters are available on their website. I hate to give them the traffic. But the reality is that they specifically say, if you don't respond, we're going to go ahead. We didn't respond. We encouraged them to go ahead. But to suggest in any way, shape, or form that we stood in the way of that is 100% false.
Thanks a lot, Sean. Just following up on your statement in regards to the Washington Post story that you say is false. Did the White House counsel office ever consider invoking privilege as it relates to Sally Yates testifying before this congressional committee?
No.
And why is that? You certainly would be in a position to invoke privilege. After all, these were privileged communications between the acting Attorney General and the Executive Office of the President. That would fall.
I know this would be a shocker, but again, part of it is that I think that we've been very clear that when you actually get to the bottom of the facts, every single person who's been briefed on this, as I've said ad nauseum from this podium, that they've been very clear that there is no connection between the president or the staff here and anyone doing anything with Russia. And I think that the view here was great. Go share what you know. So, no, and that's why the Washington Post should be ashamed of how it handled this story. It was 100% false. The letters that they actually published back up exactly what we're saying. That she was asked about this information. Their attorney asked the DOJ. The DOJ said that she had to ask the White House. They made it very clear, if you don't do this, we are going to go forward. We had no objection to her going forward. That's it.
Sean,
I do. That goes next. I get it.